Outer Rim News with Austin Gordy, Ray Snedeker, and Ashley Wilbanks.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Star Wars Celebration is just couple of months away. Lots of speculation what we might see. Last year's Celebration it was cool, but it didn't really do it for me. Hopefully this year's Celebration is going to do that. And we're going to talk all about that and maybe a little bit more in this week's episode of the Outer Rim News Show. Before we get started, I'm Ashley Wilbanks, and as always with me are my co-hosts with the most, Ray Snedeker.
Hi.
Wow.
Hi.
You want to redo that?
You come out, bring me back in.
We're going to bring him back in.
Hey.
Yeah.
I'm here.
This is much
Let's
better.
talk some Star Wars.
That's more Han Solo-like.
I wish.
And the third part of this trio is the one and only Austin B. Gordy.
What?
Over here.
What?
We're over
What?
here. We're over here. There you go. You got lost
What
for
is
a
the-
second there.
What's the B stand for?
Just because I be good, be
okay,
real.
Good.
That's what it's for.
All right, so before this thing started, we were just kind of discussing Star Wars Celebration a little bit, and kind of, the big thing from last year was a look at Kenobi and Ewan and Hayden. I can call him Anakin. Golly, on the
Hayden Skywalker.
Hayden Skywalker on the stage there. We were kind of reminiscing, kind of getting the throwback, the nostalgia feels for the prequel trilogy. But this year's kind of got my head scratching. I know for sure. Well, I don't know for sure, but I'm kind of betting we're gonna get a trailer for Ahsoka since it's coming up this year.
Mhm.
But other than that, sky's the limit. I mean, what big Star Wars announcement is there gonna be? So we're gonna tonight discuss, what we may not see, what we hope to see, what we don't want to see at Star Wars Celebration in May. This year it's in somewhere in Europe, so I won't be going. Are y'all going?
I might.
Just let me drop that penny in the bucket because that ain't gonna cost me a dime.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, listen,
It's
I
so
bet
easy
a
to
plane
do.
ticket over there right now is probably cheap though.
Yeah.
But no, I'm definitely not going. But I can tell you without a doubt, I bet it's going to be Ahsoka crazy.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I think that's gonna be their big. That's gonna be their big promo centerpiece.
That's what I hope.
Yeah.
I mean, I want there to be a big reveal. If that's what we're waiting for, is this celebration? Then
Mhm.
that's what I want them to just unload and give us everything about upcoming Ahsoka.
Yeah.
So,
So I know she's supposed to be there because she was one of the people announced for signings and photo ops and all that kind of good stuff.
Rosario.
Yeah, because
what about the rest of the cast?
I don't know. So I'm going over here to find the photo ops and all that stuff. Let's see who we got here. So the people that have been announced so far: Aiden Cook. Who's he? Who's Aiden Cook?
The chef, the set chef.
I was gonna say it's Hayden Christensen's pseudonym.
Like, I should know this person. For some reason, it's like I can't. He's in. He plays Two Tubes guy from Rogue One.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Oh yeah, he
Yeah,
was in
and-
Andor. Yeah.
Yeah, and apparently he's in The
Okay.
Force Awakens too. He's a kind of a creature actor.
Okay.
Yep. And then we have Andy Serkis, who has played multiple things. Anthony Daniel, who is always there, C-3PO. Ashley Eckstein. Billy D. Williams. I got a photo autographed up here. Caroline Blackiston. Don't know. D. Bradley Baker, who does, of course, the voice of the clones. Wedge, Dennis Lawson. We got Ewan McGregor.
Wait, Dennis
again.
Lawson's going to be there?
Mhm.
Wow. Now that I would love to get his autograph.
Well, doesn't he live somewhere? Like he lives that part
Like,
of the world.
that's probably why he went because
Like he never before never had he would associate himself that much with the series,
yeah.
kind of over it. And then, he finally came back for Rise of Skywalker, very underutilized. But I mean, I don't know. That's a surprising move that he's going to the con circuits now. That's I'm glad.
There's a want there
I wanna-
for him, right?
Dude, 100%. I mean, I could see, especially when he comes to the States, he's going to make a killing if he continues that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, obviously. Let's see. Who else do we have here? I'm just going to pull this up on the screen. Femi Taylor. I think she plays Ula, right?
Yeah, she came
Yep.
to Savannah. Yeah, she
Oh,
came
really?
to Savannah recently. Yeah. I missed it. I don't think we were in town, or I would have totally dropped by. She was in Planet Fun.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, they got
Huh.
pictures with her and stuff there. But yeah, she signed autographs there.
Hmm.
They even had the original. Who was the original production designer, or he was the model guy on the original Star Wars? Like he designed the X-wing fighter and TIE fighters and stuff like that. He passed away recently, I think. He's a fairly old gentleman, but
I mean,
he
there's so many.
yeah, he came there. I mean, it was just I still call us a small town, but yeah, they came to Savannah.
Yeah, you're getting bigger,
Oh,
bigger
yeah.
by the day.
Oh man, you're missing some big names on there.
Yep. So
Giancarlo.
Giancarlo
Woo!
Esposito is going to be there.
Woo.
I would definitely want his autograph.
Yeah.
Captain Phasma, Gwendolyn
Gwendolyn
Christie, Hayden Christensen. This is the weird thing. So both of them are there.
Mm.
Mhm.
Are they announcing a season 2 of Kenobi? Does it deserve a season 2?
Look, the Emperor's there, going to be there too, so they're
He's
going to at least have
yeah.
a thing.
He's usually pretty regular at these things, though.
Fairly.
He even goes to some of the smaller convention stuff now. So
Just don't touch me. Just you stand over there and we'll take the picture.
Indira Varma, I think like she's maybe somebody in
Yeah, and Obi-Wan
Andor.
Kenobi.
Yeah.
No, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh yeah, she was the
She was the
person smuggling him.
She was the turncoat. Yeah, the spy.
James Arnold Taylor, the voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi in the Clone Wars.
Yeah, I saw him at Disney once.
Really?
Yeah.
Then we have Eunice Suotamo. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, I would love to meet him.
Yeah, Chewie.
Mads. Mads. I want to meet Mads.
Yeah.
Katie
Can I just go in order?
No, we're going in my order. We're going in the order of who I want to see.
Katie Sackhoff.
Nah, she comes to Dragon Con. She's really cool.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, she is. Now, Mads Mikkelsen. Or you got anything to say about him now?
I mean, he's
James
all right.
Arnold Taylor. Woo!
Oh,
I mean,
Of course,
he's okay.
Matt
He's an
Lanter.
okay guy.
Harrison
Matt
Ford's
Lanter,
going to be
who's-
there.
Who?
I said Harrison Ford's going to be there.
I didn't see that anywhere. Matthew Wood, General Grievous, Michael Carter.
I've seen him
Yeah.
before, but I've always wanted to actually walk up and talk to Matthew Wood because
Oh yeah,
he's
I'm
a cool
sure.
dude.
Yeah,
I'm just impressed with his work.
I don't know who Michael Carter is. Who's Michael Carter?
Where is Michael Carter?
Nothing there as far as
He is a photo op.
yeah,
Why
Mike
is
Edmonds.
Michael Carter?
Mike Edmonds.
I feel
I'm
like
sure these are probably
I know
original
him.
trilogy people. Something
Yeah, I
to
think
do.
they were extras, and then Mike Quinn. I would love to get an autograph from him because I love Nine Numb.
Ooh, Ming Na.
Ming Na Wen.
Heck yeah.
Okay, I want to meet Ming.
Yeah.
Nah.
Rosario Dawson.
Rosario, awesome.
Sean Crawford. Is he like the BB-8 guy?
Whoever
I
he is, he's sold out.
No, because that would be because
Bill
BB-8
Hader, I
was a
think.
mixture of Bill Hader and somebody else.
Yeah.
I don't know who Sean Crawford is.
He's him. That's him.
I'm looking.
It's right there.
He was a mime puppet artist for one of the Mon Calamari officers in Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I would love to meet Silas. He was the one that played Ki-Adi-Mundi, and
Yep.
he was the pilot in episode 1 that gets blown up at the beginning. You know, him and the female co-pilot or whatever.
Yep.
Shields up.
Yeah, and then pew, he was one of those guys. Yeah, he was that guy. So yeah, I would definitely love to meet Ki-Adi-Mundi.
Then we got Tim Dry.
Don't know Tim Rose.
Tim Rose,
There's-
I think, was he Admiral Akbar?
Tim Rose? Unless he was the new Admiral Akbar or something, because the original one passed.
No, he's a puppeteer. Yeah, he best known for playing Admiral Akbar.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And of course, Vivian Blair, who is young Princess Leia.
Yeah.
It's weird that Sean Crawford's the only one sold out.
It's a really bizarre one. Unless the number is so low of how many people he wanted to limit.
Yeah,
to
he was like, I have a limited edition.
5
like
people.
10
5
I was
meetings.
going
is all
to say
I'll
10.
do.
He's like, I'll
10
do
meetings.
10 for 10 fingers. 10 people.
Is he like only there one day? Friday, Saturday?
He's there from.
I bet he
he's there from
probably
lunch.
backed out. It's probably just a website thing. I bet he probably isn't there. They just haven't put his stuff in yet. Whoa, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, 170, whatever those are. Frankfurts.
Pounds. Those are pounds.
I don't know. I'm so ignorant when it comes to international travel. But I mean, that's a pretty nice guest list. It just seems, I don't know, when Austin, what do you think? I've only been in one celebration in 2018, I guess,
Mhm.
and when it was in
It was
Orlando.
2017, I think, when we went.
2017.
Yeah.
And it seemed like there was more people than that there.
Yeah,
I don't know.
and plus, I mean, I bet you'll have your heads of Lucas. I mean, I bet you think George will be there. I'm sure he'll probably make an appearance, right?
Nah.
Or nah.
I doubt
Nah?
it. I doubt it.
I always
I
feel
doubt
like they end up roping him in and he makes an appearance, but I just feel like we're probably going to get appearances from like I mean, I feel like Harrison Ford would have to show up, right? Because I mean, Indiana Jones comes out after, right? Or does it come out before? I just feel like they're going to try to hype that up a little bit there.
I would say if it came out before, he would make an appearance.
That's why I was thinking. I feel like it comes out afterwards, like later. Because when's Celebration? Isn't it in April or when is it? May?
April 7th.
Okay, it's in April.
So it's in April. So that means it'll come out before Indiana Jones. So I would suspect Harrison to make a surprise appearance. Like he's not going to sign autographs, but they'll probably one of the days him and George will show up, or him and the James Mangold, the director of the new movie, will show up, or him and Phoebe. Is that who it is? Phoebe Waller?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Maybe Phoebe, she'll probably either something. Well, she'll probably be there because she's from London. I'm assuming, or
She played the droid.
Yeah, she played Lando's droid.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I feel like you'll see surprise appearances, but other than that, it's I don't know. I guess it's to me it looks like it's representative of kind of what's big right now in Star Wars, because you've got Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen, which to me is a huge draw for both of them to be there, unless Ewan backs out, which wouldn't surprise me. But I don't know. He seems like he's pretty grateful for Star Wars now, and like y'all were suspecting, maybe they'll have some sort of a surprise announcement, because I just feel like they may want to. I bet Obi-Wan was a big enough hit that they're. I don't know. I bet there's something that they've got cooking. Something tells me.
You know, I'm surprised that what's her name isn't announced for showing up there. With so close, you'd think because it's going to be close to Ahsoka. You know, with Ahsoka on the way, they're going to try to be getting the cast to come up, start doing, press stuff for the show. And Ewan's wife. Wait, are they married? Him and Mary,
or at least dating? Or
together. They have a kid. you know, you'd think if he's going to be there, that's good. You know, you'd think with her being in Ahsoka, and it seems like she's going to have a role. If it's who we speculate she is, or who I speculate, Hera.
Yeah.
You think she'd be there? You know, maybe a surprise appearance to make the announcement of who's going to be playing live action Hera, or if that's going to be who she plays.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if she showed up, at least made a surprise appearance.
Mm-hmm.
I hope they do some sort of a surprise announcement of like a reveal of Thrawn.
Yeah, I'd love to
Or
see who's going to
announcement for
play.
that.
Yeah, that's one thing I'm curious about. Who's going to?
But to answer another way to answer your question from earlier, I will say it's it's kind of sad. It feels like it's lacking in terms of the classic Star Wars. Like it's sad not seeing, you know, Carrie Fisher or Mark Hamill on the list, or Harrison Ford. You know, just, you know, Billy. Well, we see Billy D's going to be there, right? Didn't you say Billy D's going to be there? Yeah. So it's like, so I'm totally about it. You know, I mean, it's great. They got a good lineup, but it's starting to make me feel old because all the classics are starting to dwindle away because we don't even have Peter anymore. We don't have Jeremy Bullock. We don't have, I mean, there's plenty. I mean, I just feel like there's a big, I mean, Ray, I miss Ray Park. I wish he would come back.
I think that's kind of a long shot now.
I don't know. Let's just go. We'll see. But I don't know. But it is representative of where they're at in Star Wars currently, and it's a pretty good lineup. I think people they'll get their money's worth.
Hello, Dr. Mad Studio. Just want to throw that out there.
Oh yeah,
I love your icon.
Yep.
I think it also speaks to what's going on with Star Wars as it is right now, the state of it, because it does seem like they are in a weird phase still. It seems like they're trying to regain their identity post Rise of Skywalker, post sequel trilogy. You know, the ups and then all the gigantic downs that they went through.
I bet I know exactly where they're at in terms of the conflict, because think about it, they don't have an event movie anymore to look forward to unless they were to do another episode. It's like, what are we going to do? How are
go ahead.
No, I was just going to say how are they going to drum up interest anymore for that when they know the franchise is over and people just weren't as passionate for the spinoffs as they wanted them to be. Mm-hmm. It's just, I bet they're stuck in that place where they're like, how are we going to make the next movie an event movie for people that they've got to see this movie? They got to line up and watch it. And
that's a hard thing because you got to justify the cost of what it takes to make one of these movies, because they're sci-fi, they're sci-fi space operas. But you do see a lot of people that had the sentiment of, they wouldn't mind if a story the stakes were a little smaller. It wasn't wasn't about, the gigantic force with the planet killing weapons again.
No, I agree.
But something you mentioned earlier is something that kind of hit me, is that Marvel is kind of having a little bit of a similar issue. They've been really kind of lost post Endgame.
Mm-hmm.
And they have some wins, but they've had some they've taken some hits, and it feels like they're lacking in terms of a central personality. Maybe that's what I'm going for. Is, I'm not trying to be nostalgic about it, but Robert Downey Jr., when he started it, he very much, both on screen and off, he was a really big driving personality force. He was big PR. He was, you saw how he would act at like all the events. When he would walk out onto the stage, he would act just like Tony Stark. He was bringing the fans in just as much off screen as he was on screen. So once his time, once his tenure was over and he was ready to be gone, and Tony Stark died, it does seem like they're struggling to find someone who can fill that vacuum, because it feels like someone does need to be there to kind of pull it in, and they don't have anybody. Instead, they're kind of hoping that all the different people that they're having, is, that they're bringing in. They're hoping all of them can sum up into this force that can pull people in, and it doesn't seem like it's working as well. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
No,
And
I
the
totally agree.
And the
And-
biggest name you have for Star Wars right now, I mean, would it be Pedro Pascal? Probably
Yeah.
not. I mean, it's more like John Favreau, and he's not even
Yeah,
an
he's
actor
not even.
in the.
I mean, he's an actor, but
He's
he
an
doesn't.
actor,
He
but I'm
doesn't do
saying-
acting like he used to. Yeah,
and he's not like a face in the Star Wars
Yeah.
shows or movies,
Mhm.
you know. But his name is like hovers above Star Wars right now.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was gonna say if he were to put out a Star Wars movie, it would be like a John Favreau movie with Star Wars people in it, is what it would be. So it would, yeah, it would be tough. I mean, my thing is they just need to make it. I don't know. I think they need to just make it like what made the original Star Wars such a classic. You know, they just tell sort of an original story. You know, if you want to plop us in the middle of the action, and then we fill in the back stuff years in the future. I don't
See,
care.
But they see, there you go with what you just described, though. That's literally what they did with the Force Awakens.
But not tell
Yeah.
the same story, but I'm saying tell a different story. But if you want to plop us in the middle of it, like, you know what I'm saying? If you want to tell us
Yeah.
something that's happening, in the middle of your timeline, I just want them to create an original story that we can enjoy, and it can be in that one movie. It doesn't have to be a repeat, but it just needs to be just something that'll attract people's attention, just some sort of a fun story.
Mhm.
And like you said, it doesn't have to be high stakes.
Yeah.
It can just be.
It can be something that starts small and you can grow the stakes as the story progresses. Kind of like how The Mandalorian has been doing. The stakes started fairly small. He was just
Mhm.
trying to get by. Then he found the kid, and then we've slowly found more about the kid as the story has progressed, and we found out, this kid's pretty important, and we gotta keep him safe. So
And we do get nods from classic characters, but for the most part, it's kind of doing its own thing. It's
Yeah.
resting on other characters. I mean, you get some, like Boba Fett came back, but
And now we're about. I mean, you went from nothing to fighting for the right to lead Mandalore.
Mhm.
I mean, so I mean, it has grown.
yeah.
Well. So what are some things you expect to see at Star Wars Celebration? Now, assuming we're going to get to see all this, right? Hopefully, they're still going to do the Verizon stage, and Verizon's going to, promote this thing and show it live on YouTube and all that kind of good stuff. Isn't Verizon usually the sponsor for?
I mean, obviously, I want to know what Verizon's new phone for the year is going to be, and
Yeah.
their new plan for
They're going to
5G.
reveal it live at Star Wars Celebration.
Don't forget to sign up
Android.
for the new 6G wireless.
But seriously, okay. So what do you want to see? We kind of know right now we're going to see an Ahsoka trailer. We kind of think that.
I
What
want to
else
see
do
a
you see?
Thrawn reveal. I want to see a Thrawn reveal, and I want them to announce like another game, but another, like, not just a sequel. Because we obviously are going to get a great sequel. We're going to get another Jedi game, but I want to see another Star Wars game, a big title, like something that's going to stick around for a while. Not a third, I guess what I'm trying to say is not a $30 game. I want to see,
Yeah.
But I do want to see like an open world type Star Wars third person, or maybe even if it's a first person shooter adventure. But I just want them to announce some big game project that's not a mobile, not some catch. I just want a big game.
Well, isn't there something that
Ubisoft's working on something
yeah,
right now.
Right.
That's what
So I feel like I hope they'll announce whatever that is, just something.
Well, and then there was also there's a chance maybe we might hear something about the Knights of the Old Republic remake. As we know, like infamously,
That's
this
true.
happened,
That's true.
last year, the company, the developer that was working on it, who had only made I think some mobile games before, they were in charge of like a remake that's going to drop on the PS5. So it feels like it's a little bit advanced, maybe. I don't know if they're prepared for that, and it turns out that they weren't, because it had to be handed off to another developer. And it's weird because I don't think they even said at what stage they were in. I think it was kind of implied or rumored that like they weren't even like halfway through with making this remake. So
Wow.
this other company, this other developer had to take over. I would love to hear some news about it, even if it's not Star Wars Celebration. But yeah, like you're saying, like I wouldn't mind some game news, because there are multiple projects in the works, but there's a weirdness going on with all of it, because you have all these developers and some of them are doing stuff that seems like it's way out of their depth. You like the another infamous one, the Star Wars Eclipse game. That's being handled by Quantic Dream.
Is that even still happening though?
That could be a vaporware game, but as far as I've heard, it's still in the works. There's been no official cancellation of it, I don't think.
Wasn't there some issue with Quantum?
Yeah, so this is the problem with Quantum Dream. So yeah, are you familiar with any of their games, Ashley?
No, but I just know all the
okay
big to do about them.
Yeah, so their games are mainly interactive story based type games.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not going to be like they're not ones where you're like first person shooting or Uncharted, like leaping around, Grand Theft Auto, driving around. It's nothing like that. It's more you've got a linear story structure,
mm-hmm.
but it's branching paths. So like you can have multiple different endings, but you are restricted in what you can do, where your character can move.
Mm-hmm.
But so it's a very specific, restrictive gaming structure. And what it sounded like with this game was they were going to be doing a type of game that they hadn't really done before. And it seems like that was messing up like how they're trying to work, because they're using their own house engines, which were not equipped for this type of game that they were making.
Mm-hmm.
And so it sounds like stuff was just falling apart. And that's why they were doing the stuff. Apparently they were trying to get other people to either buy their company or buy something. They're trying to sell the game, basically. Apparently the trailer itself was like a pitch to get people to come to the board to help them out. So
wow.
Yeah, that's a whole weird thing. So it's so bizarre what's going on.
I want to see them in a healthy place. I want to see like a game here and a game there, just like healthily spaced out, and you're like, you might, like we used to have Star Wars Racer, then you might have like the Rogue Squadron, and then you'll get, some other adventure games. I just want to see just more. And like you said, everything it's gotten
it makes me kind of yearn for the days of LucasArts.
Yeah.
But and I say that it's almost unfair, because there is a huge complexity with making modern day games that's definitely not the case back then. But I would like to see somebody, or maybe somebody already has, but somebody look into the history of like LucasArts, like how they worked. Like I would like to see, did they have problems like this at all? Like stuff they were working on constantly that would get canceled for one reason or another, like stuff that mirrors or parallels what's going on now with them, how it feels like it's such a struggle for them to get any games out.
Right. One thing I'll tell you what I do want to see, maybe they'll announce, I want to see some more Star Wars novels that are not High Republic and not trying to, I want to see some more classic, either some stuff that takes place in the Luke, Han, Leia era, where they're just, kind of like an original adventure, maybe maybe post Return of the Jedi, or maybe set between 1 and 2, A New Hope and Empire, just something. I don't know. I want to see some more novels like that, or maybe some more prequel era novels, like around the time of Qui-Gon and the like the Jedi Council and all that. I just want to see a little more novels of that. I like nothing against the High Republic. I just feel like we've been in this for so long. I'm just ready to see some more familiar faces. That's not either like High Republic stuff or like The Mandalorian, where they're pushing that all the time. I just want to go back to some classic Star Wars for a minute.
So, Dr. Mad Studio says, not going to lie, but a remake of Star Wars Bounty Hunter would be awesome. Jango Fett was my favorite Star Wars character when I was a kid, and I played the hell out of the game on the PS2.
I
It was
agree.
a
No,
good
Django.
game.
That game was awesome. That was like, to me, I remember when it was coming out, and then when it came out, just like Ray, didn't we play a lot of it together or something like that? Or at least like we would, like, I played it and then you played it, and we just kind of just talked about how great for whatever reason, I just felt
think
like I
so.
marathon that game with somebody, or either I did it myself, but
Mhm.
it was so great. I loved it. And it was, for its time, was cutting edge. I mean, to me, I thought the
Mhm.
graphics were great. And it was
Oh
on
yeah,
what, the GameCube? It was on the GameCube and the
no
PS2.
PS2. It
I
was
thought
on.
it was on
Well, I
both,
played.
right?
Well, it may have been, but I had a PS2, so I was playing it on the PS2.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was there was the game that was canceled that was on this was around the time of you may know about this the 1313 project.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
Yeah, which was revealed afterwards after the cancellation of it that it was going to be a game about Boba Fett, which was crazy because I remember seeing the trailer, and at the time when that was coming out, I'd just finally gotten into Uncharted. Like I'd gotten a PS3, so I finally got to play the Uncharted games, and man, they were awesome. And I saw the trailer, and I thought, man, that's like Star Wars or Uncharted. That's fantastic. That sounds great. And yeah, that was a disappointment because that was a victim of the Disney purchase.
Yep.
Because I think when Disney finally got the go ahead and they bought it, cleaned house on a lot of stuff, which included LucasArts, unfortunately, and LucasArts was making that, getting that game developed. So that game just got thrown out with the garbage. And
I remember when they showed the foot. Remember they had like some of the footage.
so there,
they showed from it?
that I was going to bring up that. Yeah, there's the initial trailer that came out, but recently, I don't know how recently it was, but yeah, someone did manage to leak out some footage, or they might have just shown it because they had it and there wasn't any kind of, I guess there wasn't any legal problem with them releasing it, but you can go on YouTube and you can see some of the footage of like or like some of the gaming set pieces. Like one specifically was like a little chase scene set piece, which is pretty cool. It looked like you were chasing someone across, like it wasn't finished. Some of the areas, like some stuff wasn't like fully. Yeah, like you'll see stuff that's like pretty well done like that, but you'll also see plenty of stuff that wasn't finished.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't have his jetpack yet, so kind of like Uncharted, you didn't, you were gonna have to jump and do a lot of dodging and stuff, but
what
yeah, this kind of stuff.
Wasn't 1313 sort of wrapped up into the Mandalorian? Didn't they take some of the ideas of this and kind of combine?
I mean, a lot of the mythos, like the meta mythos of Boba Fett went into, I think, the Mandalorian, because I mean they took the rifle, the rifle that Din uses now is the rifle that we saw originally in the cartoon that Boba Fett first appeared in, but he never had it in the movies though.
Yeah, right. That was crazy.
Christmas. So yeah, it seems like they're yeah. But
I want to see also talking about like I would love to see okay, we were talking about unfinished games or whatever. You remember the Indiana Jones game that was supposed to get made on the 360 that never got made? Right?
They did make it. It's just it was only for the Wii. It's stripped down. It was
something like that, yeah. And so they really need to go back and do like a proper Indiana Jones game.
That would be the last one I remember playing. It was a great game. Was the Emperor's Tomb or something like that?
It was whichever one that was
game.
Yeah, I was going to say it was a real good game. It was a really good, well done game. So I could see him just making an adventure game like that, kind of taking cues off of Uncharted and maybe some other games and stuff like that we're not thinking of. But I would dig that.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind some announcements of something like that. Some projects that they're working on.
So, as far as we've talked about games and maybe some novels, but as far as TV movies go, do you think we're gonna get like maybe a movie announcement? Because there is some rumblings that a new movie is going to start production relatively soon.
Damon Lindelof's film? Is that what we're talking
Well,
about?
nobody really knows which one they're doing.
I imagine.
But his is the kind of the obvious one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean-
if we're going on clout right now too, which one they would probably want to push to get going, it would probably be Lindelof because he's got a much better reputation at the moment.
Yeah.
Because I know Taika is working on something, but it feels like he hit a bit of a bit of a bump with Love and Thunder,
Love and
like
Thunder, sort of,
critically.
yeah.
So I don't know. I think they're also trying to figure out what kind of tone they want to approach Star Wars with, because I have a feeling that they weren't expecting the amount of rabid fur that people had for Andor with how much they loved the gritty, which isn't something that's normal with Star Wars. And I think that they're probably, I imagine Taika first got hired on because he can appeal to that more quirky, goofy side of Star Wars. So I don't know. It depends on maybe what they want their first movie back. What kind of tone they want to hit with the audiences and critics.
Did Andor do that well though, streaming wise?
That's a good question.
I mean,
it did do well critically. Like it did fantastically critic wise.
So I'm looking at an article
others.
here from the Hollywood Reporter.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, the top 15 streaming shows
Mhm.
last year. It's nowhere. I mean, it's not in the top 15. You got.
Did any Star Wars shows? Star Wars projects.
Here you go. 15, The Simpsons. 14, Cobra Kai. 13, Heartland. 12, Wednesday. 11, Supernatural. 10, Seinfeld. 9, Gilmore Girls. 8, Bluey. Some Disney Plus show.
Mhm.
7, Criminal Minds. 6, Grey's Anatomy. 5, Encanto. 4, Ozark. 3, Cocomelon. 2, NCIS. Really? And 1, Stranger Things.
Never ever underestimate NCIS fans for some reason.
Okay. So I was reading you the top overall. Let's talk about the original series. 15, The Rings of Power. 14, The Last Kingdom. 13, The Umbrella Academy. 11, tie here between The Great British Baking Show and The Boys. 10, The Crown. 9, Inventing Anna. 8, Love is Blind. 7, Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story. 6, Virgin River. 5, Bridgerton. 4, Cobra Kai. 3, Wednesdays. 2, Ozark. And 1, of course, Stranger Things again.
Yeah, well, I mean, last year was a banner year for Stranger Things.
So not even in, but I mean, no Star Wars was in the top.
Yeah. Well, for one,
but the
Mandalorian's been their top winner, and that has, we got last season, 2020?
Yes,
season 2
or 2021, something like it. There wasn't one last year. Yeah. So for the critical, it had. I don't know that it was met with the fan support.
The fan engagement, and that's going to be one of the weirdest things. I mean, still, it's one of the weird, not in terms of Star Wars, but streaming in general, is how you measure these metrics still. And it's still like you see so many shows. How do you measure how well something is doing? And a lot of them do this by how many minutes are watched or how many episodes are actually completed. You may have 1,000 people that watch 5 minutes of it, but that doesn't mean that they watch. They didn't watch the whole episode.
Yeah, it says Stranger Things had 52 billion with a B minutes watched.
and there's plenty of times where that was probably just multiple people that went back after they finished and watched scenes that they loved over and over and over and over. That or like the big Vecna versus Max, her escaping scene with running up that hill. That it's just a weird thing about streaming is I think it's still one of those growing pains that they're still figuring out. And it seems like Disney's taking a hit for it too, though. They aren't doing, they announced that they kind of had some losses, I think, from Disney Plus recently.
Yeah, but even on, like, if you follow some of the Star Wars fan sites,
Yeah.
Andor didn't register that much on the radar. Yeah, people reported about it,
Mhm.
but there was not like a lot of hoopla
Yeah.
after each show came out
So I guess it
or each episode.
I guess then what it'll come out to is, well, I guess it'll come up to what Lucasfilm thinks at the end. Like, do they want to did they like what fan engagement they did get and want to kind of nurture that and try to
Yeah.
see if they can get more, and or if they want to kind of go with what they did with Kenobi, which there were hiccups here and there. There were definitely were that people definitely called out loudly.
Yeah.
But there were great moments within that. So I guess it depends which direction they want to continue. Like if they want, it's not even one or the other. I guess it's more along which do they want to lean toward at the moment. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
And this kind of brings up another question though too: is Star Wars still relevant?
I think with any story, because I always that those kind of questions when it comes to any kind of storytelling thing, they always kind of irk me.
Really?
Because yeah, I mean, and not in any kind of malicious way. It's just because I love storytelling. Like
Yeah.
it's one of my favorite things in all mediums, books, movies, video games. Like I'm not a multiplayer gamer. I love single player games because I love the stories I can experience in them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's only as relevant as the stories they want to tell, I guess is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
And I think that was a big misstep that they had when they did the sequel trilogy, was they mined too hard in trying to recreate the magic from the original trilogy instead of just trying to step out into some kind of new storyline to hit up on.
Yeah.
Which, if it had been me and someone came to me, I would have, I probably would have went for more of like something you hadn't seen before. Really, Star Wars would have been the galaxy dealing with something maybe similar to like the Yuuzhan Vong idea of like you have some new visitor, some new threat that's not just human despot tyrant type stuff, just some new threat, or I don't know, or just some big mystery that's to be solved with where the stakes get higher by the third movie and they have to, maybe there's some big sacrifice to stop it. But yeah, I think it's just they need to come up with fresh, new ideas. And I get a feeling like Dave is trying to lean in that direction with what he's been doing, but it's not in the movies, though. He's doing this in the TV medium.
Yeah. And I mean, to me, nothing's really hit since Lucas sold the company except for The Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm.
The Mandalorian has been the one kind of bright spot out of everything. Now, I do have a fondness for that season 7 of the Clone Wars. The Bad Batch has been real good. But there is this connection there with Dave Filoni and Lucasfilm. And, maybe Ahsoka turns out to be the same way. But the sequel trilogy didn't do it for me. Even though I went and see The Force Awakens like 8-9 times.
Well, that's why I'm saying The Force Awakens gets an unfair shake, because I think that one, even though it was a carbon copy of A New Hope, like that at least people didn't complain about that movie as much as you would. I mean, I think either people said, it was the same as A New Hope, or they enjoyed the movie. And I mean, obviously showed in the box office. And I think it revitalized Star Wars. It was all about the next step. Yeah. And that's just like with the prequel trilogy. It's all about the next step. And a lot of times that next step is, not where people wanted it to go. And they're like, nah. And then sometimes they can course correct in the third step, or they don't. And I totally get that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Force Awakens had a solid foundation. I definitely will say that, because it was doing, and I could see what JJ was doing, because this was something I remember in screenwriting classes, is one way to really, a safe way to get your audience engaged is to do two things. First off, you want to show them something new, but in the same thing, you also want to show them something familiar. And that's, and he was towing that line very, that was a pretty solid towing of the line.
Desert Planet,
Force Awakens.
Yep.
Familiar but new. It wasn't Tatooine, but he was laying a foundation. Him and who was the other screenwriter? Wasn't Kasdan back for that?
Yeah, Lawrence Kasdan.
Yeah, Lawrence Kasdan.
Lawrence.
And I appreciated that too, because I mean, he had like a classic writer there with him to work off of.
Yeah.
And also a good thing about The Force Awakens is that it focused on, or it adhered to canon. Like it also looked at an established timeline. Like, okay, these are events that happen, and this is why The Force Awakens is like, these are why things are happening in the movie. It's because 30 years ago we had some big things happen, and now poof, these are this is the aftermath in the sandbox.
Yeah.
And so, you said you got something new and then something familiar. And so that's what I'm saying. They always had a good jump off point. And I always feel like, I don't think like, saying Star Wars hadn't had a hit since, I would say Force Awakens was definitely a hit. It was definitely a hit. And then Mandalorian was basically the what kind of saved it after they couldn't quite recreate the magic of Force Awakens. The Mandalorian is what saved them then.
Yeah, and the whole trilogy, and it makes me very melancholy and sad not for the creators behind it, not for like Ryan and JJ, because it did feel like they did some squandering there. But no, what I feel sad for are, I'll go in tiers here of who I feel the most sad for, in 3 tiers. Most sad for, I feel sad for John Boyega. I feel like he got dealt the worst hand out of the main 3, because I'm going. It's just the first 3 I'm talking about here. John got dealt the worst hand. Because he allowed. It feels like he was sold a bill of goods on what his impact on this franchise would be, because we got promotion. We thought this was going to be our Luke that we were going to be following. He was going to be he was going to be the hero we were following. And that was big in great, in ways that were new for Star Wars, in exciting ways, because we had you had a black hero. He was going to be, that was what they're promoting. And not even that, he was also a former stormtrooper. So that was a really cool idea that they were going with there. Yeah. And it turned out that it was, you got it was a JJ marketing strategy, because he was hiding something, but it hurt people that were, I feel like it hurt people that were thinking there was going to be something else there. Because the promotions also showed him using the lightsaber. And then it was a good twist about Rey. And then that leads into her, because I also feel bad about what happened with Daisy. She got a lot of flack, with how they handled her storyline, and how, she got treated, her and Kelly Marie Tran got treated horribly by the fandom. And then Poe, I don't feel too bad for Oscar Isaac, just because everybody still loved Oscar Isaac by the end of it. People still love Oscar Isaac now. I don't think he would have any problem jumping back into it if he felt like it. I don't think he's too eager to jump back into it. But the reason I bring this up is, I remember recently, I think Daisy said in an interview that she wouldn't mind revisiting Rey sometime. And I wouldn't mind seeing that. I wouldn't mind if someone brought up maybe not a movie, but maybe a mini series or something like that with Disney Plus. Something to kind of rectify and kind of balance out the problems that they had with that trilogy. Flesh out storylines that were there or planned to be there, and they just didn't do it. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what they could do. I don't know what else they could do with Daisy's character. I would love to see her go on, but overall, I think that was the biggest disappointing thing for me, was and this was all around when Force Awakens came out. When I talked to people about it, what
Mhm.
everyone said was, I actually cared about these characters, like the new characters. I want to see them some more. And I always felt like you said, they got the crap end of the deal. They didn't
The
know,
actors,
like you said,
yeah.
they didn't know what to do with Finn. They didn't know what to do with Poe. Barely knew what to do with Ray. And it just, especially Finn, there was so much potential for him coming as a stormtrooper from a mysterious background, like he was some orphan or something. They just took these kids from somewhere, and then they kind of touched on it in Rise of Skywalker, but just in a really poor way, really poor way. Like it was barely. I mean, it's just I don't. I really do feel for those people like they didn't get their fair shake in getting to flesh out their characters. I mean, at least they did get a chance. I think. I mean, John did have the storyline in Canto Bight. You got Poe trying to mutiny and all that kind of. I mean, it's just they just weren't good stories.
I mean,
And I felt bad for them. And then they promised, they kept marketing the third one as a promise that we were going to get the full team on an adventure again, and then they just go back to a desert planet with aliens that aren't even interesting and with no action that's interesting at all. They just drive from one point to another. There weren't even that many curves. They just kind of drove a little bit, and some stormtroopers launched up so they can get a better angle. They're like, they're right there. So it was just kind of just an odd. Everything about that last movie is just odd.
yeah.
Oh, and let's kill Chewbacca, but not really.
Well, and disregarding all that stuff, like story points aside, I feel bad for the main cast because it does feel like there's a hesitancy for any of them to want to jump back toward this place that they so eagerly jumped to. And
I know John wouldn't do it.
John, I feel like it'd be hard to get him back in. And I would hope that it wouldn't be. Show him the money, or at least show him proof of concept of not screwing him over with the script, with the storyline.
Or it'd have to be about him.
Yeah, I don't think they would. See, that's the thing is, I don't think they'd be able to write him a big enough check. But if the story was right, he'd probably do it.
Yeah. But yeah, it's. I guess we'll find out what direction Lucasfilm is aiming in the next.
I'm sure they're going to push Ahsoka, and then they might tease the next upcoming movie, but they probably won't have a lot to tease. But I'm sure they're going to try to get some sort of hype going.
Yeah.
You really think so?
Probably. They need to do something with the movie business because I mean they don't have Rogue Squadron anymore to hype like they were before. Because I mean they even had Patty Jenkins, with the helmet and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, what are we gonna do?
That's true. Well, we need to wrap this up, but and we can continue this talk because there's still some things I want to get to about Star Wars Celebration that we just didn't get to, but we have plenty of time before Star Wars Celebration hits because it's in April. This is only mid-February, so we will continue this conversation at a later date. Anything you guys have to say to the Star Wars community at large before we leave?
Yeah, I got a quick little haul I like to show off because.
Okay, go ahead. I forgot about the hauls.
I forget
about the hauls.
My wife got me this, so I can finish off my little Bad Batch group. I have little Omega.
Yes,
Omega
to set up with Rika and Echo, and Teak, and
Echo,
and Hunter.
Are you gonna leave me, Hunter? Oh gosh, never mind.
But yeah, she got me that so I could finish off my little group set over there.
Well, that's cool. The Bad Batch is a good show.
Yeah,
it's a good show.
Yeah, fantastic.
You got a haul, Austin?
No, just a stack of comics that I got to get through.
He's just got a whole lot of comics.
Yeah, like this is only like a fraction, but I've got like a stack of comics to get through. Yeah, and this is only one. That's just the first stack, and there's more in the living room. So,
well, I don't have a haul, unfortunately. I'm sorry, but I mean, I have this guy right here sitting right beside me.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
What is that? Is that Power of the Force, or is that a?
Yeah, that's Power of the Force. Gamorrean,
Beautiful.
1997-ish, probably
Wow.
98.
Beautiful.
Let's see. I don't know. It doesn't have a date on him. But that was about the time he came out, 97, 98, somewhere along there. All right, folks, that's it. May the Force be with you.
And also with you, let us pray.
And Mace Windu.
Okay.
What? Okay, this is getting weird. Bye. See you guys next time.